This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
RCMP blocked First Nations members trap officers and stage highway protests following a raid on cannabis shops.
Abateau approved. The federal government green lights the controversial Avon River Abateau construction.
And from Russia to the Maritimes, Moosehead's rookie Oleg Kulabaikin finds a second home in Halifax on his journey to the NHL.
The Easter weekend will have a wide variety of weather, including snow, ice pellets, freezing rain, and rain for Friday. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. A high-stakes standoff between law enforcement and Mi'kmaq over sovereignty came to a head today on the province's roads.
Significant portions of Highway 102 on the mainland and Route 4 in Cape Breton were brought to a crawl as protesters erected blockades in direct response to a string of RCMP raids on cannabis dispensaries. Anna Rack has the details.
RCMP retreating, carrying their guns. Forced to break through a blockage on Thursday on Butladek First Nation after dozens of them were trapped by protesters. It came as tensions boiled over after they raided this Indigenous-owned cannabis store. The store's manager told CBC the RCMP officers busted down the door and loaded a U-Haul trailer with cannabis products. RCMP confirmed that 2 men were arrested.
We're just having a peaceful protest. We want to be heard that, the RCMP can't just come into our community and do what they want to do.
The officers were taken away in unmarked SUVs, abandoning their vehicles.
I feel like we all knew it was coming one day or another, but the biggest thing is our community's here supporting us, and we're trying to figure it all out.
The protest continued for hours, blocking Route 4 into the community. Supporters in other communities were also blocking roadways. Members of Sabaganagati First Nation outside of Truro blockaded the southbound lane of Highway 102. Supporters say they're upset at the ongoing cannabis raids on First Nations communities, and they should maintain autonomy over their own lands. The Justice Minister says people have the right to protest, but that the RCMP are upholding the law.
The RCMP are executing the law. They operate independently of government, and we hope that anyone that is in violation of the law will listen to the local law enforcement and work collaboratively with them so we don't have any further incidents.
RCMP have been cracking down in recent months on what the police force calls illegal cannabis stores. In a statement, the force say they are engaging with community leaders. Anna Rack, CBC News, Butladek First Nation.
RCMP have arrested an 18-year-old man in what they are calling a fast-moving, intimate partner violence-related situation after he allegedly showed up to a workplace masked and carrying a loaded rifle. Police were called to a restaurant on Cow Bay Road in Eastern Passage Tuesday night. They say the man was in a relationship with one of the employees. The man tried to flee, but police tracked him down. Officers found more weapons, body armor, and RCMP shoulder patches while searching his house. Connor James Tobin is facing additional charges from December and January involving the same victim.
The Nova Scotia government has finally received federal approval for the structure that will replace the Abateau near Windsor. It means the province will also be able to begin work completing the Highway 101 twinning project in the area. Michael Gorman reports.
After years of delays, work to complete this stretch of Highway 101 will finally soon be able to begin. The local MP announced Thursday that Ottawa has signed off on the provincial government's plan to replace the Windsor Abateau. With approval to replace that structure, the province can also begin work connecting the final piece of a twinning project that requires 2 bridges crossing the Avon River.
It has taken far too long, but I will say, on a good note, I think it is still a good story. We are respecting Indigenous rights. We are going to improve the passage of fish at the Avon River. We are going to be operating on a brackish lake scenario, which will maintain freshwater access upstream.
First announced in 2016, the work was supposed to be complete in 2024, but disputes over fish passage and how to maintain a man-made lake prolonged the process. Mi'kmaq chiefs have expressed concern about insufficient consultation. They've pushed for a design that allows for full fish passage. The province's public works minister says the new structure will be completely different than the existing abattoir, but the design is still being finalized.
There will be water in the lake there for sure, and it'll be brackish in nature. And the abattoir is there to protect the town from flooding, to protect agriculture, protect all those things. So it will continue to operate in that manner.
The community's mayor acknowledges the project has been divisive, but says having a resolution that satisfies most concerns comes as a relief.
Our community can move forward finally, and hopefully in the near future this project gets complete, and we have improved fish passage, we have a brand new highway, 2 bridges, much more safer, and we still have a body of water where people can recreate and enjoy.
The province says a tender for the work will go out this fall and construction will begin before the end of the year. It'll take a total of 3 years to complete the work on the abattoir and finish the highway twinning project. Michael Gorman, CBC News, Windsor.
In a statement, the Assembly of Nova Scotia Mi'kmaq chiefs say they were surprised by the announcement, having only received the final version of the Fisheries Act authorization documents this morning. They will be reviewing the documents to make sure their concerns over fish passage and water supply are met.
Time for our first quick look at the weather forecast. Ryan's here.
Yes, and the long weekend is here. Maybe some tricky travel times.
Yeah, much like your plate of Easter dinner, lots of variety on the plate. Some of it not so good, perhaps, maybe not your cup of tea, but also definitely some nice features as well. We're going to see some sunshine this weekend, especially on Saturday, and then again, if you're lucky enough to have Monday off, but we've got to get through Friday and Friday night, which is going to be bringing a round of freezing rain, especially across the northeast of the province. If you're traveling, New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island into the mix here as well. Cape Breton will also be seeing some snow, 5 to 10 centimeters across the island. The Highlands could see more than that. This all tracks in through Friday morning. The afternoon really unsettled and icy across the northeast of the province. We will eventually change to rain. This system moves out. Yes, we'll have a sunny break for Saturday, and then we've got another mess coming in Sunday. Your full weekend breakdown coming up.
All right. Stay tuned for that. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
A private company that's accepted millions of public dollars to care for some of Nova Scotia's most vulnerable people is rapidly losing workers. People who are still working say it's creating a major staffing and safety issue. Shana Luck has this CBC News investigation.
You've probably never heard of a company called Arden Professional Client Care, but since 2018, this company has accepted more than $184 million from the Nova Scotia government. Let me tell you why that matters. Nova Scotia sometimes hires private companies to care for vulnerable people. That includes children in government care and adults with disabilities. Arden's job is to find a house for the client and staff it round the clock. 1 client, 2 staff, 12-hour shifts.
They're extremely vulnerable people. It's very much the end of the road as far as I understand with regards to care. These people have extreme schizophrenia, extreme autism, nonverbal autism, which is extremely challenging to try and communicate and to understand the client as well.
We're not disclosing the identities of people who work for Arden because they fear retaliation. They're not considered employees. They're independent contractors, self-employed, making about $20 an hour. On March 16th, Arden sent an announcement to all its contractors. The company's been audited by the Canada Revenue Agency. Until now, Arden hasn't issued tax documents. And many contractors were under the impression they didn't have to pay tax on their income. They've even described that on this petition. I asked Arden for clarity on what it told its contractors about taxes before the audit. The company told me they don't provide income tax advice to their contractors, and their contractor agreements have always stated that the contractors are responsible for their own tax decisions. I have internal emails from Arden head office showing they disagreed with the CRA, but they told me they are complying. As a result of all this, many contractors are afraid they'll have to pay significant back taxes. Some were so upset, they quit. In fact, so many people quit, Arden's having trouble staffing its houses.
Since this announcement, And since all of the vacancies have shown up on the schedules for people that are no longer taking shifts, as a result of this news, there are people that are working 66 hours straight with no breaks.
Workers who talked to CBC said this is a safety issue for the people in care. They said contractors are sometimes working alone, and that's also a safety risk for them because some clients can get violent. I asked Arden about these concerns. The company said it's continuing to work with the province to ensure there are no changes to client care and safety. It didn't give any other details. And that $184 million, it came from the Department of Opportunities and Social Development. It confirmed Arden has 12 children in care and 44 adults with disabilities. After the department learned Arden's workers are contractors, they contacted Arden in March and said they expect tax documents to be filed. They reminded Arden that its agreement has a clause that requires the company to comply with all laws and regulations. But the minister says she's satisfied.
We are in constant contact with our service providers, including Arden, and at this time we have no concerns about staffing levels.
2 years ago, the Auditor General issued a report about children in care. She looked at companies like Arden. She thought the province's oversight of them was too weak. She's been following up with the department out of concern.
So we wanted to, send a signal to the department and to the minister that this is serious stuff and you need to make sure these children are cared for.
Arden's contract with the province has expired, but it's still providing care. We'll be watching what happens next. Shayna Luck, CBC News, Halifax.
Province House is now reopened to the public. It's been closed since March 25th after a group of protesters broke into song, disrupting a final budget vote. Officials say those individuals are restricted from entering the galleries until the end of the sitting. There are also additional rules in place for all visitors, including the prohibition of cell phone and tablet use.
Nova Scotia won't be expanding alcohol sales into grocery or convenience stores anytime soon. It comes after results of a survey conducted last year found there is little support to expanding sales. Premier Tim Houston told reporters on Wednesday the issue is no longer a priority for his government. Well, for most hockey players, the journey to the NHL is a marathon. But for one of the Halifax Mooseheads, that journey covers a lot more than just ice. It spans thousands of kilometers.
The CBC's Sebastian Asprey has the story of a Russian rookie making himself at home in the Maritimes.
Puck in front for Kulebiak, and the wraparound, he scores! Oleg Kulebiak is first in the queue.
That's Oleg Kulebiakin, a Russian forward for the Halifax Mooseheads. His goal to reach the NHL has taken him over 6,000 kilometers away from his home to here in Nova Scotia.
Here, this is so much different, live in your family and live is different family. But I come in and Dom and Samantha help me for everything, and that's more fine, it's more comfortable.
With his dad, mom, sister, and girlfriend still overseas, knowing little English, Oleg billets with Dom and Samantha Galvin and their 2 kids from Dartmouth.
He had messaged me saying, I'm really nervous about my English, and he just wanted to really put it out there, and it was not that bad. Now, we don't even pull out the translation app. He's golden. We text in English, we talk in English. He's great.
But his arrival to Halifax back in August of 2025 did not go exactly to plan.
I think there was a few flight delays, and if I'm not mistaken, his bags didn't make it with him.
Yeah. I come with for first day Nike t-shirt and my shorts. Yeah, that's.
Halifax native and captain of the Mooseheads, Owen Phillips, shares a hotel room with Oleg while on the road and is a big support for him. Speaking with Owen, it's clear Oleg has been fitting in quite well.
Obviously, he played in Russia last year and the United States as well, so it's obviously new to him in the CHL, but I feel like he's adjusted really well and obviously fit in really well with the guys. He was a little more quiet in the start, but once you get to know him, he's a pretty funny guy and shows his character and personality a bit, which is awesome to see, so it's been fun for us and the rest of the group.
Yazoo Mensinen, Finnish forward, also in his rookie year with the Mooseheads, has become a good friend of Oleg's the past 7 months, connecting over being away from their families and their cultures.
All the Euros here, it's I think we got great bond, and it's good to have guys from different countries, and they know how it's been, being far away from home and have their own language and stuff.
Now at the end of his first season in the queue, Oleg hopes to continue to grow his game with the Mooseheads and push for the NHL. Sebastian Asprey, CBC News, Halifax.
That's a wintry scene up in Inverness. Ryan is up next with a full weather forecast. Stay with us.
Okay, the good news is it's a long weekend.
Yes, that's
okay,
true.
we got that much nailed down. Gonna have to pick your spots weather-wise, aren't you?
Yes, but there are some bright spots amid the rain and freezing rain and that sort of stuff.
Exactly. Saturday afternoon, I think, is something we can hold on to.
Okay.
The northerly wind will be a little bit biting, but we've down toward the South Shore, especially, will be pretty good. And then Monday, also, if you're lucky enough to have Monday off.
Skip right over Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. Sunday will be at least mild after we warm up and we get the icy mess out of the way. We'll time it all out. First, a look at beautiful White Point. The sun is out right there right now. And yes, it's turned into not a bad afternoon with that sun breaking through in a few spots. Temperatures out there right now across the province, not too bad. We're ranging between 3 degrees and 1 in most cases. Picto's at -1 already. Sydney's at -3, so yeah, maybe not great. All relative, of course, for early April. Now, as we look at the current winds, they've been in from the north today, north to northeast, and they have been a little on the biting side for sure. There's the cloud, which has been pretty dominant, but again, we are seeing some breaks of sun along the south shore, along the northeast, into Cape Breton. Now, here's the system at hand. System number 1, that is. Snow, ice pellets, freezing rain tracking into the Great Lakes right now. This is what's going to be working in for us. And then we've got another system for Sunday. Temperatures across Canada still struggling. The heat continues to build across the U.S. South. Let's run you through the forecast for tonight. -1 to -6. Mildest in the southwest, coolest in the northeast. Now, as we move throughout the day tomorrow, we'll get through tonight first, and you can see the clouds building in. Note the snow tracking into New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island. I think Nova Scotia, for the most part, staying precip free until late morning, and that's when we're going to start to see this moving in from west to east. And note, it's pretty quickly going to move in as rain or transition to rain for the Tri-County area and along that south shore, places like Lunenburg and Liverpool. Maybe a brief period of some ice pellets. Freezing rain likely hanging on for inland areas, places like Kedzie and New Ross. And then across the northeast, this is what's going to be where we're primarily going to be seeing the snow, the ice pellets, and the freezing rain beginning late Friday morning and then continuing through Friday afternoon. You can see that the temperatures will continue to bump up with rain in the southwest. Metro likely bumping above the freezing mark late afternoon, but an extended period of freezing rain certainly possible for inland areas. And then as we work our way into the northeast, note here, this is where it's going to be stubborn through that Friday evening time frame. Temperatures will eventually bump up as we move our way into the overnight, and we'll time out that part of the story in just a second. So yes, the freezing rain through here, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow and ice pellets for you folks in Cape Breton. The Highlands, 10 to 20 centimeters of snow and ice pellets, certainly possible by the time we get to Saturday. There are those southeast winds, 20 gusting 30, 40 kilometers per hour. So here we are Friday evening, and note, yes, we'll bump above the freezing mark even across the mainland by Saturday at 3 a.m. Note how mild the temperatures are here, and it's the snow, the ice pellets, rain likely for southern Cape Breton, but hanging on to the mess for northern Cape Breton. If you're up early Saturday morning, temperatures are going to be pretty mild, especially in the southwest of the province, but the northerly winds will kick in. We'll actually drop temperatures throughout the morning and then likely recover a degree or so into the afternoon. The south shore will be where it's at temperature-wise on Saturday. Showers and flurries ending, then some sunshine into the mix for Saturday afternoon. Temperatures 1 to 4 across the north and east. High pressure holds on. Early Sunday, I think, is fine. Not so much New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island if you're traveling there. This one is looking more and more like a quicker change and not as much precip on the front end. So looking at a brief period of snow and ice pellets and freezing rain across the northeast of the province, perhaps down to the Halifax area. Straight up rain from the start for the southwest. And then we are looking at showers for the most part on Sunday. Steadier rains set to hold off until the overnight. Models still disagreeing on how quickly that clears out on Monday, but we will clear out. By the way, Sunday's temperatures set to range between 8 and 12 degrees. So it will be mild. Southwesterly winds will be gusty. And then it looks like we'll finally see like maybe a back-to-back day with some sunshine.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be something?
We'll take it.
In the meantime, lots of variety.
Yes.
I'd say. Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Wild oyster fishers in the Maritimes say they are anxious about the upcoming season. 2 diseases have done serious damage to the industry.
And the industry also took a hit when dead oysters prompted some buyers to pull the plug. The CBC's Nancy Russell reports.
The start of the season is less than a month away for PEI's wild oyster fishers. Many at this year's annual general meeting say they are feeling anxious. Their industry has been hit hard since the discovery of 2 diseases. MSX and dermo are not harmful to humans, but they can be deadly for oysters.
hearing the results of people lifting their cages, looking in them, and the province checking bids with the mortality, our picture looks pretty bleak, and I don't know what to expect for the spring.
McLeod says the industry took another hit this winter. Some customers reported receiving shipments containing dead oysters.
They were good when they left their plant, but by the time they got to their brokers, there was one or two with whatever dead ones in it, and they make a bad smell, and some of them brokers will send them back or want their money back.
MP Bobby Morrissey says help is coming from the federal government, including buyouts for people who want to get out of the industry. He says there will also be a meeting with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency about importing disease-resistant seed from the United States.
Can you do that without introducing any new organisms to PI waters?
The oyster fishers say they're struggling after the closure of another major river because of Dermo, and they're not sure what is going to happen this spring when the season opens.
Oh, everybody's terrified. We don't know what to expect. We're losing a lot of our fishing ground. Derma was detected in East River, so as of right now, the whole East River is shut down.
There is also frustration.
Small conversations can become intense very quickly because none of us have answers to the future, and we know what is happening and how quickly it's happening.
This is probably the most difficult day ahead because lots of times I got some good news to give fishers, and I honestly don't have any good news to give them today.
The wild oyster season opens in early May. Nancy Russell, CBC News, Summerside.
Coming up, pressure at the pumps. One analyst says fuel prices could hit an all-time high in the days and weeks ahead. With spiking gas prices in Canada and around the globe, the impact is being felt on the economy. Operating costs are rising and the shock at the pump continues. Patrick DeHaan is lead petroleum analyst with GasBuddy.com with us now. Sir, just to put this in perspective for us, how close are we to approaching highs here in gas prices?
Well, at least for gasoline, we're still quite a bit below those 2022 highs. Halifax looking an average of about 183. That is up about 44 cents later in the last month. But it's on the diesel side of the equation that we're getting very close to new all-time records. Halifax seeing an average just under $2.50 a liter. That's about 10 cents a liter away from surpassing those 2022 highs. By then, which we certainly could see in the days ahead, we'll be in new all-time record territory for the price of diesel.
Yes, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that these prices are going to continue to raise here. I mean, is there a ceiling to be had here?
Unfortunately, not necessarily in the short term. Really, the ceiling doesn't so much exist. It's more of a question of, will the Strait of Hormuz be reopened? What does that look like? To what degree? We continue to see oil, gas prices, diesel prices all going up until there is some sort of tangible plan to reopen the strait, which would then allow that oil to begin flowing from countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Kuwait, and Iraq.
Yeah, so how dependent are we here in Canada on Iranian oil?
Well, we're not really dependent on Iranian oil at all. In fact, Canada, one of the largest oil producers in North America, or really globally. The problem is, though, that oil that is produced in Canada can relatively easily be exported. Everyone is dealing with kind of the same situation. The U.S. is an energy super producer, but because oil can be easily shipped all around the world, we are not beholden to what just happens in our backyard or here in Canada. It is a international benchmark. The price of oil is really determined by global markets, not just a Canadian market.
Yeah, and so as those numbers keep going up, is there a threshold that the prices cross over that have historically been shown to be a time when consumers seriously start to change their habits?
Well, it certainly varies country to country. In Canada, we see a lot of opposition in areas that are not on the West Coast when gasoline goes above the $2 a liter mark. It's certainly very traumatic, very significant, especially with diesel now approaching $2.50 a liter. We're starting to get some of those levels where at least diesel demand may decrease. Gasoline, we're just kind of under those previous records as mentioned. So we may have to see prices going up before we really start to see demand begin to decline.
Okay, so when the war in Iran is over, how soon might we see those prices go back down, and what sort of factors are at play there?
Well, a lot of it is really less to do with the actual war. Even if the U.S. leaves, the biggest question is the Strait of Hormuz. Will it be left behind? U.S. President Donald Trump yesterday talking about simply leaving the strait as it is, essentially handing control of the strait or allowing Iran to continue to control the strait. So this is really, at least as it pertains to oil, all about the Strait of Hormuz and less about what the war looks like and if the U.S. will pull out. Now, other countries may have to essentially act to reopen the strait, but that's what's at stake here. Even if the U.S. leaves with its war over, Iran certainly could continue to control the strait, and that could continue to weigh on prices.
And what about at refineries? I mean, is there still capacity there?
Well, you know, we've seen a lot of Middle Eastern refineries come under attack, and that's part of the reason why we've seen such an increase in the refined product prices. But really, at the end of the day, it's all about oil and reopening the strait so that refineries in the Gulf and oil producers can get their products to the market. And until that free flow is restored, we're going to see a lot of pressure from countries like China and India that are starting to buy oil and refined products elsewhere. And of course, that's really what has been such a big impact pushing our prices up, is many of those buyers that typically would buy oil from the Middle East are now looking elsewhere.
The cynics out there will say the prices never seem to drop as fast as they go up. Is there any truth to that at all?
Well, you know, there's multiple different angles to look at here. I mean, when you talk about energy futures and oil prices, they will likely decline, but it depends on the degree of clarity or how open the Strait of Hormuz is going to be. But oftentimes, gas retailers specifically are behind the curve by 2 to 3 days on passing along increases in prices. And so to the point there, gas stations also lower their prices a bit slower to recoup the lost margin when prices were actively spiking. But I do expect, you know, once there is clarity to the degree of that, we will see oil prices plunge, and it will only be a day or two later that gasoline prices will start following along.
Okay, and in the meantime, what can or should governments be doing, if anything, here?
Well, there are Band-Aid approaches. There have been provinces talking about, waiving taxes on fuel to some degree, but that would exacerbate the imbalances that have already led to the jump in prices. Governments really would look at reopening the strait and restoring that vital waterway. Anything else is really just a Band-Aid on a gaping wound.
All right, Patrick DeHaan, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up, U.S. President Donald Trump insists the war in the Middle East is almost won, a claim Iran flatly denies.
And it is day 2 of the historic Artemis 2 moon mission, marking the crew's first full day in zero gravity. Welcome back. Iran is upping the ante in its war with the U.S. and Israel. It now says the Strait of Hormuz will be closed long-term to those two countries. Just part of its response to Donald Trump's primetime address Wednesday night.
Many watching had hoped the president would give a firm timeline for the end of the war. Instead, he said it will continue and even intensify, despite saying most of his military objectives had been achieved. Megan Williams reports.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong.
Iran pushed back hard against Trump's boasting that the U.S. will blast the country into the Stone Ages.
Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone. Their missiles are just about used up or beaten.
President Masoud Pezeshkian said that Washington and Israel badly misread Iran's military strength, that its arsenal of missiles and long-range drones is far from being wiped out. Later, Trump warned Iran to make a deal before it was too late, posting a Truth Social video of what he said was a major bridge collapsing.
Good morning, afternoon and evening to colleagues from all over the world.
Later, Britain hosted a virtual meeting of about 40 foreign ministers, including Canada's Anita Anand, to explore the possibility of joint action in the Strait of Hormuz, after Trump made it clear that he considers it their problem to solve.
We are focusing on the diplomatic and international planning measures, including collective mobilisation of our full range of diplomatic and economic tools and pressures.
That puts the Gulf countries in an increasingly difficult position. They tried to stop this war, then they tried to stay out of it, and now there's a risk of them getting into it. They're desperate to open the Strait of Hormuz. It's their economic lifeline. At a UN security meeting, Bahrain backed a draft resolution that could pave the way for Gulf military action against Iran in the Strait, with Russia and China opposing it. And the strikes haven't let up. The UAE had 19 ballistic missiles and 26 drones targeted against it. You can hear the jets, military jets overhead. So there's a real sense here that the danger is not easing. Megan Williams, CBC News, Dubai.
The astronauts heading for the moon are feeling relief. The toilet may have failed to function as soon as Artemis 2 reached orbit, but with plumbing advice from Mission Control, the lunar loo is now working. Karen Pauls is in Florida with more on what's happening with the crew, which includes Canadian Jeremy Hansen.
The Artemis 2 crew is having another busy day. They're orbiting Earth about 65,000 kilometers away. The key task is testing their life support systems, which is a critical piece to deciding if they continue to the moon. They're also doing some maneuvers in space. The Orion capsule is about the size of a minibus, and it's never been flown in space before by humans. So pilot Victor Glover is pushing it to the extreme. We can watch a lot of what's happening because NASA is live streaming the mission. There are cameras mounted above the astronauts' heads, and we can see them checking monitors, holding up mobile phones, and pressing buttons.
All right, Amy, welcome on board the Integrity spacecraft. We got, right now, myself and Christina are in seats 1 and 2, getting ready for rendezvous and proxops demonstration. Victor's just finishing up getting out of suits and getting suit drying going, and Jeremy is hard at work in cabin configuration. It was an amazing ride uphill. The views, we've got 2 moon rises that we've had so far, and the views of planet Earth. We've circled it completely, and we forgot how beautiful it is to look down on Earth.
All of this testing is to prepare for a critical translunar injection burn tonight. If it all goes to plan, the burn will fire for about 6 minutes to send them out of orbit and on a trajectory towards the moon. By Monday, they should be more than 10,000 kilometers beyond the far side of the moon, the furthest ever for humans so far. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Titusville, Florida.
Donald Trump has removed another member of his cabinet, Attorney General Pam Bondi. Confirming the move, Trump called Bondi a patriot and friend, but her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files faced intense criticism. It's also believed Trump felt she was moving too slowly against political adversaries he thought should face criminal charges. Her tenure saw dozens of Justice Department prosecutors removed who handled investigations that met with Trump's disapproval. Deputy Attorney General and former Trump lawyer Todd Blanche takes over on an interim basis.
Finance Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne is in Beijing this week with an eye on bringing more Chinese investments to Canada. Lisa Xing reports.
Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne doing the work of diplomacy here in Beijing. Traveling with him is Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem. Here at the Canadian Embassy, they're meeting with the heads of Canadian financial institutions, essentially to strategize about how exactly to secure more Chinese investment in Canada, considering back in January when Prime Minister Mark Carney came to visit with his counterpart, Chinese President Xi Jinping. He had announced a goal of increasing Canadian exports to China by 50% by 2030.
We think that our financial institutions, our insurance company, which are already present on the Chinese market, can help to further the objective that has been set by the Prime Minister.
So we keep hearing China is Canada's second largest trading partner, but there is a substantial trade deficit between the two countries, and there's a desire to close that gap. And we're hearing that financial institutions have a large role to play in that.
We cannot be a global giant and depend only on 40 million customers, but by accessing mega economies such as China and India and the United States, we can be a global giant.
There's been a lot of engagement lately, calls between foreign ministers, meetings between other officials. Tomorrow, Champagne will meet with Chinese government officials and businesses. All this to show Canada is serious about the relationship with China and to secure its spot in a market of 1.4 billion people. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Beijing.
The window to take part in Ottawa's gun buyback program is now closed, and far fewer guns were turned in than expected. Ashley Burke shows why some gun owners say the government made it difficult to comply, even for those who wanted to.
Hello, I'm calling to follow up on my case for returning a firearm.
David Hicks says he picked up the phone on day one to take part in the government's gun buyback program, but more than 2 months later, still no luck.
It just seems preposterous. They set up the program, they want to take these things off the streets, and here I am, willing, able, wanting to participate. I've tried many times, I've talked to many people, talked to my MP, and here I am, the day after the program ended, and still no success.
Hicks says he's struggling to turn in this banned AR-style rifle he inherited from his father. But executors of estates can't use the program's online portal, so Hicks says he was told to request a paper form over the phone.
Eventually someone did contact me and said that they would send me some paperwork to fill in to presumably register for the program. That was over a month ago. Nothing's arrived.
The government says Canadians declared more than 67,000 banned assault-style firearms by the March 31st deadline. That's about half of the 136,000 firearms the government budgeted to buy back from owners.
So there's obviously a gap there.
It's far better than some would have thought. Liberal MP Nathalie Provost survived École Polytechnique and fought for gun control. She says the spread of disinformation hurt the program's uptake.
The gun lobby and the conservative, they just created more confusion.
It's sort of typical for the Liberals to blame everybody but themselves for their failed programs.
The gun lobby and conservatives who oppose the program pushing back.
They're attacking licensed, law-abiding, trained and tested farmers, hunters, and sport shooters.
The government says anyone who's not part of this program and is still in possession of one of these banned firearms has until October 30th to dispose or deactivate it at their own expense. If not, they could face criminal charges. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
In some regions, including here in Nova Scotia, the end of winter means the beginning of a new wildfire season. And there are growing fears in Canada that the bad years are turning into the expected norm. Aaron Collins explains.
In Colorado, summer weather has come early, bringing with it tinder dry conditions, perfect for wildfires.
This looks like June, so it's really scary, and we've been in and out of a drought.
A historic lack of snow leaving much of the western U.S. parched. 2023 was the worst wildfire season on record in Canada. The last 3 years, bad. And just like the U.S., conditions are already dry and warm in BC this spring.
If 2026 is another active year, my narrative's going to change and say, expect fires almost every year.
A potential new normal right across Canada. That reality top of mind in Newfoundland, too.
The things that we know this year is that we're not immune to wildfires. They are here, and they could be back again. We can't predict from one year to the next.
Alberta knows that reality all too well, but record snowfall in many areas could help mitigate the risk this year.
And this is just the kind of conditions we like to see.
Still, with the 10th anniversary of the Fort McMurray fire a month away, Alberta Wildfire is gearing up for a busy season, planning to fight fires from the air, on the ground, and at night.
New ways of fighting fire for us here in Alberta, and that includes our successful night vision helicopter program.
The federal government is preparing for this wildfire season too, investing hundreds of millions of dollars to help provinces buy more water bombers and revamping the country's wildland fire information system.
Still, there are calls for Ottawa to do more, some pushing for the creation of a federal disaster agency. For its part, the federal government says it is listening, wrapping public consultation on its response to disasters just last week. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Across the country, pressure is building for Canada to find a way to keep children off social media. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson explains who's joining the calls for change and why it may be easier said than done.
As calls grow for Canada to restrict social media for youth,
I would just put forward.
This premier wants to survey Saskatchewan voters for their views.
Should there be an outright ban for students and kids 16 years and under, or should there be a parental consent, portion?
BC's Attorney General was in Ottawa last week pushing her government's priorities.
We want to prevent the harm. You want to stop it from happening. A kid that's committed suicide, a kid that's addicted, a kid that's a lifelong thing, right, for the families and for the person that's suffering.
Among 4,005 Canadians surveyed by Angus Reid in March, 75% said they support or strongly support a full ban on social media use by kids under 16. As Canada weighs its options, Australia's online safety watchdog has observed too many kids under 16 are getting around that country's ban.
Social media platforms are choosing to do the absolute bare minimum because they want these laws to fail.
Some observers in Canada say, pay attention to that.
It isn't as simple as people think it is. It isn't necessarily as impactful as people hope it will be, as Australia is finding. And there's better ways of getting at these problems.
We're all agreed that social media is an addiction. Right.
This parent with advocacy group Children First Canada would like to see a wholesale strategy from the federal government, not just a ban.
What we're saying is, hey kids, we need you to leave those sites, go cold turkey, and everything is going to be fine. When has that ever worked out in the history of humans?
But the international momentum for bans is growing. France's Senate just approved an under-15 ban on social media, though lawmakers are still working out how to implement it. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Canada's main stock index finished higher on Thursday, helped by gains in the energy sector, while U.S. markets were mixed. Here is a look at the numbers as we head to break. All right, take what you want weather-wise from this weekend. There's something for everyone, isn't there?
Right, I feel a little bad for the Easter bunny.
Yeah.
Never thought of that.
It's gonna be a little
slog.
rough.
Tough slog for the Easter
fur.
Bunny.
Yeah,
definitely. Saturday night when the Easter Bunny's visiting, though, might actually be too bad.
Okay.
But we'll break that down in just a sec. First, have a look at our viewer picture of the day. We're going to zoom in on Halifax. It's been a while since we saw a pic from the peninsula. And this is an iridescence cloud.
Oh, very cool.
Which is iridescent cloud, which is basically ice crystals in the clouds and the sun just perfectly shining through there.
Like a prism sort of thing?
Like a prism, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And so like a little rainbow cloud.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so thanks to Mark for snapping this pic, Ryan's Picks at cbc.ca. There's the special weather statement in effect for the Northeast and into Cape Breton. That is thanks to, yes, the freezing rain and also the snow. So there's that freezing rain risk. The darker colors and darker shades toward the northeast of the province, not just the freezing rain, but the snow and the ice pellets. 5 to 10 centimeters for Cape Breton, but 10 to 20 in the Highlands. And you can see that mix of 0 to a couple of centimeters possible for Friday afternoon into Friday evening across the northeast, but it does look like a pretty quick transition over to primarily freezing rain. That's going to be the biggest risk there in the northeast. There are your temperatures for Saturday afternoon. It'll actually be milder early in the morning on Saturday, but then that northerly wind will be dropping temperatures. And so we'll be watching things kind of clearing out. Some sunshine, though, into the afternoon. And then the Sunday system, again, a bit of a messy mix across the northeast of the province, primarily more late morning, early afternoon, and then a change over to rain. High temperatures, 8 to 12 degrees, maybe even a little bit warmer than that. The good news is, as we move into next week, we get to calm down a little bit.
I like the look of that.
Yeah, me
and
too.
you get a rest, too.
You bet. Okay, thanks, Ryan. Well, we want to leave you with this. A robotic arm is helping deaf students access science and technology lessons that are hard to deliver in sign language.
The device has been introduced to students in Kenya, where it was invented.
Through Zoom, you can be here and somebody teaching from far using robots can be able to explain and type using the laptop, and you can be able to understand much more better.
The new system converts teachers' spoken words into sign language gestures, which are then expressed through the robotic arm through the use of special sensors.
The technology is also being tested in Switzerland. Similar projects exist in countries like France and Vietnam.
That is impressive.
It is, for sure.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Happy Easter.